13th of April 2024. This is a new topic for me, and as you could see in the thumbnail, it is called Staring into the Fire. Now, I'm sure many people listening have experienced that moment where you just sit quietly and you stare into the fire, and you see how that fire is consuming the wood or the charcoal or what. And in the end, we all know it is just ashes. This is what South Africa is, that burning fire. And we are reaching a point where we are getting close to the ashes stage. Now, you have to be totally disconnected with reality if you are not aware of the following facts. The health system is basically beyond repair. The education system is basically beyond repair. For both of these systems, there are still flames and coals, glowing coals, but most of it is ashes. And those flames and coals are private hospitals, private medical facilities, private schools. But this ANC is absolutely committed to destroying that as well. That is what they've done. They started off in 1994, and their main mission was to destroy South Africa. Why? There's many things that you can discuss around the whys, but primarily it is about money and control. The XXX gang, and in South Africa, their main hideout is in Stellenbosch. They are absolutely focused on getting everything into their hands. They want control over everything. And we maybe didn't see it, but if you look at the things that they did to get that control, it is actually frightening. Now, for them to have total control, there cannot be small businesses, because small businesses are mostly independent and they serve their communities. XXX had to destroy that. And they tried it with BEE and affirmative action and all that cuck. But it was going too slow for them, because the South African community as a nation is a resourceful nation. And many of these small business owners found very clever ways of maintaining their presence in the commercial sector without being tied down by all these ridiculous laws. And then they thought about it for a while, and XXX sitting in their dark rooms talking about this shit, most of it brews out in Davos. They decided, no, we have to be brutal with the small businesses. And you know how they used that pestilence incident with all its fucking lies and deceit and fraud and whatever you want to call it. But they used it to get rid of the small businesses. And who would forget, Kopdoek famously said, this is now an ideal opportunity to reset the commercial sector. Evil fuckers! But the bulk of the population complied. That's it. So there was a devastating blow to the small businesses. And what did that do? All it did, it was widening the gap between the haves and the have-nots. Because in XXX world, there's no room for a middle class. They don't want it. They want everybody in poverty and the elites with everything in their hands. Schwab famously said, you will own nothing and be happy. But let's get back to South Africa. So the health services destroyed, Education, destroyed. Small businesses, destroyed. Industrial sector, destroyed. Transport, rail transport, destroyed. The harbors, basically destroyed. That is main components that is needed to have a healthy and growing economy with opportunities for everybody. Now these fucking politicians, they're on the stages and they're telling you all types of shit. But you must never forget, the only thing that they have in their minds are those green seats down in Cape Town. They don't stand on the stages and talk to you about your future. They talk about their future. They don't go and visit the deserted industrial areas. They don't tell you about those things. They don't recognize those things. Most of those politicians are unaware of those things. But every deserted workshop, every deserted repair shop, all of those represents jobs. And those jobs represents people that could provide for themselves. The destruction in the industrial base of South Africa is horrendous. And the communities around those once flourishing industrial zones, they are devastated. But the politicians don't care about them. They don't care about them. Now, we've got an election coming up. Look again at this meme, and then you think about what you see on that meme, and ask yourself, is it really going to help to change the driver in that tank? That tank's going nowhere. Why was South Africa destroyed like this? They have now their last main object is to get Eskom in their claws. That's what they want. Why is that important? Because with one switch they can switch the whole region off. That is primarily why they want it, for that control. Not for providing you with electricity. No, for that control. And this ANC, Ramaphosa and his gang, is playing 100% in their hands to facilitate that transfer. That is what he is doing. But the people see it and they take it. And what makes me very angry is that the politicians, all of them, not a single party can be excluded. All of them are working together to destroying our lives. Why? There is numerous posts floating around and videos floating around of the absolutely obscene salaries these fucking politicians are getting and earning. I mean, government officials earning more than R1 million a year. I mean, what is that? But that is where we are. We have been bludgeoned into a position of just accepting all these ridiculous things. Now, the destruction of the industrial base, the destruction of the commercial base, the destruction of the health services, the destruction of the education system. You must ask yourself why. Now, this frantic moves to get Eskom in their hands, moving too slow. So what do? They pull the water into the water reticulation into the show to hasten the sale of Eskom, the privatization of Eskom, because you were clever. When the load shedding became unbearable, you either got a generator or you made sure you had lamps or battery lamps or whatever, solar systems and whatever. And that angers them because your resourcefulness pulled yourself out of that death grip. They hate it. And then they thought about, let's cut the water. Now the water systems is collapsing at a horrific rate. The problem with the water is, to repair that is not weeks, not months. You're talking about years. How can communities be without clean drinking water for years? They cannot. A human being will not last longer than 3 days without water. And they know it. So they're pushing you with the water so that you lose focus on what they're doing to Eskom. Open your eyes. I am of the opinion they want to balkanize South Africa. And for South Africans, They want to cut the country up into the old homeland systems, roughly along those lines. The homelands will be there, and then there's that common areas, which is large, and those common areas will go into the control and the hands of the gangs. Don't forget it. It is going to be the criminal gangs that is going to grab most of the urban areas, be it city blocks. How they're going to share it, they know. They've already planned it. So you will wake up in the morning and you'll see a guy at your door and he will tell you, you have to pay this and this protection money or this place is going to burn. That's what is going to happen. If you don't want to pay, they're going to kill you. To make your neighbor pay, they'll kill you. That's what's happening. And don't bluff yourself and think the police or the army are going to protect you. They cannot. They cannot even protect themselves. There's private security companies that is protecting police stations. How ridiculous is that? But that is the realities. So on this Saturday morning, I'm telling you, what is in our future is just ashes with this cabal in charge. I'm going to say it again, it is only the tribes that will survive. And if you are one of those people that has got no cultural connections to your tribe, you are in trouble, because it will be communities that stand together that will survive. Do not fool yourself. And then there's still people that are promoting not to vote. Yes, it's a fucking problem with this voting, because who must you vote for? I have given you indications of which parties to go for. I told you flat out that if a party supports gender confusion, stay away from them completely. Completely. Because that is a core flaw for you as a Christian. So none of those political parties currently in Parliament can be voted for the simple reason they all support that gender confusion. There are two parties that I see that is not in the control of XXX financially, and it is both parties are focused on the rights of you, the individual. And that is Hope for SA and OHM. Will they be able, if they get into control, will they be able to save the country? I doubt it, for the reasons that I have given. But at least they have got good principles. What you must understand is there is a very good possibility that this election is actually a referendum, and that results from that election will be used as a guideline on how to break the country apart. So you guys that don't want to vote, you must just understand, if I'm correct that this is going to be used as a referendum, you are going to be fucking sorry if you didn't vote. But that is your problem. You will once again land in the position where you have no say in your future. Think about that. Please give me a like and a subscribe and share the thing. Thank you for your support.